Hello, everybody. Now it rains. Now. Where were you an hour ago? Where were you an hour ago? Is it going to get worse, Lee? Anyway, hello. Welcome to the notebook for the 2023 Azerbaijan Grand Prix, which didn't have any rain, which might have been enlivened somewhat by a little bit of rain shower at the end. It would have been enlivened somewhat by a rain shower at the end. Up to that point, one of the most interesting things about today's race had been the national anthem. So the Azeri flag, you can't see it because it's, oh yeah, there you go. Obviously is blue at the top, red in the middle with the crescent and the star, and then green at the bottom. And they did that very clever thing, I thought, with the singer in the middle and the people with the, you know, with the flappy sleeves at the top, and then it made the flag. Did you see that at the end? And there was a sort of Christmas themed Christmas advert, bum ba ba bum bum ba ba ba, singing of the Azeri national anthem, which I thought was great. And one of the other most exciting things about the Grand Prix was when the race mascot, who is the eagle, I don't know if he's called Eddie the Azeri Eagle, I'm going to call him, not his name, don't know what his name is, came into the main grandstand and was doing high fives with everybody and encouraging a Mexican wave, which was the right thing to encourage because, of course, we have had a Mexican winner here. We have had 2.5 times winner of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Sergio Perez, and congratulations to him. He's an ace, as much of an ace round here in race conditions as Charles Leclerc is in qualifying position. So he's won 2 Grand Prix and a sprint race. So I like the way that Checo said 2.5 Grand Prix. So yeah, take nothing away from Checo Perez. There was a bit of fortune, which we'll go through in a minute when we get down to Red Bull, but clearly he was on it and was not to be beaten today, this afternoon, not in the sprint race yesterday, nor today. Right, let's just update. If you didn't see what I was saying in the program, let's update you what happened with Esteban Ocon coming in late and personnel in the pit lane. So, photographers and FIA marshals were, so first of all, FIA marshals, I could see all this happening. First of all, FIA marshals came into the pit lane and started putting up barriers. So nobody had told them that Esteban Ocon was still to make a pit stop. And then the security, F1 and the FIA, let photographers in to the pit lane. So it's not the photographer's fault or the TV crews. They were let in to the pit lane. Now, all right, you could argue that, okay, did none of them know that what the rest of us knew, that Esteban Ocon was still to make a pit stop, and they might have thought by themselves, all right, that photographer and TV's fault. They were let in by the FIA and F1. So that's what the investigation is going on. So they all sort of started to come in here, while Esteban Ocon was, of course, barreling down the pit lane entry here. And I don't think Ocon had to, as far as I know, I don't think he had to pit, but he was to slow down or anything. But he wasn't warned. So Ocon said apparently in his interview with us that he was not warned by his team that there were potentially personnel in the pit lane and that he should look out for it. But yeah, so investigations are going on, exactly what happened and the process of what happened and how we can make sure that doesn't happen again, because clearly there was a lack of communication, because, you know, security did let the photographers in. It wasn't their fault that they were told to go in. So they will investigate that, and that is pretty much the well, one of the exciting things that happened at the end, but it was a race that had completely under control by Red Bull Racing, and it's a win for Sergio Perez, as I said. Everyone's packing up, so we'll do a little bit of that. So, but as soon as the big heavy forklift trucks start coming into the pit lane, we will leave the guys to it, and we will get out of their way. And the poor safety car, only used once today. Now it starts to get rained on, but yeah, we had one rain shower. I will make a comment about what happened on the grid with the extra 10 minutes. So this is in order for more grid activation, as they call it, to happen at future events. So here, it didn't actually have anything. So we had an extra 10 minutes because the pit lane opened at 10 past rather than 20 past. And then everyone sat on the grid for an extra 10 minutes thinking, well, what's all this about? But I believe when we get to Miami, that'll be very different. And watch out for a grid spectacular at the Miami Grand Prix. next time. That's what the extra 10 minutes will be used for. Right, Max Verstappen was second today. Sergio Perez was first today. And does it look like we're going to have some kind of photo in the rain? Are we going to have a photo in the rain? Photo in the rain? Photo in the rain. Deciding on positioning. Well, everyone's packing up really quickly for Miami, Alice. So I'm just wondering whether, I was thinking to myself I might lead them to it, but it's a very tight paddock. You could do it by where we have the Sky Pad if you want, out the back.
We were actually, that was one of Tomo's ideas. So currently Tomo and I...
You're not leaving it to Tomo, are you?
Yes, Tomo is in charge, which is worrying. Yeah,
Mark Thompson over there. Well, he looks like he's settled on out here, but I would recommend that he doesn't do it. Thank you, Alice. So yeah, we're looking for Team Checo are out here, waiting for congratulations. Congratulations. Good stuff, good stuff. Who was the people who Checo spoke about on the radio afterwards?
I didn't know because I didn't have the headphones.
Okay.
I owe you for the next one.
He said, hang on, I wrote it down. Thibaut and his wife. Never mind. It'll be a mystery. We'll find out in Miami. Thank you. An okay start for both. Max didn't need more than 4 laps to go to P1 past Charles Leclerc, but then came the odd call. I'm going to call it the odd call for Max to pit when they saw that Nick de Vries had stopped and a safety car was surely going to come out. I'm going to call it an odd call because they could have, if everybody had gone right and everything. At some moment, there could have been a button on that de-rigged now pit wall to say, stay out, stay out. Didn't want to do it, maybe because they thought that there wasn't going to be. They didn't know. Listen, it was a very close thing. They probably had, once they do the analysis, and we'll report back on this in Miami, I reckon they probably would have had about, less than 10 seconds to tell Max to stay out. And maybe the decision time would have been 6 seconds, something like that. Stay out. That's all I need to know. And then they can't be guaranteed that Max is going to be like, whoa, hang on, I'm already in the pit lane, I've got to stay out. But had that happened and Max stayed out, Max Verstappen would have won this Grand Prix. All right, we don't know what would have happened with the rest of history and the way things shaken out. And Sergio Perez had the pace today. That's the crucial thing about it. Max and Sergio were so tightly matched today that even when Checo went out, Max couldn't catch him, couldn't close. So arguably, hey, listen, had he stayed out and then Checo done another thing and they were not stacked or whatever, maybe Checo would have passed him in the pits. We don't know. They was very, very close, but Max could have stayed out and that might have given him a better chance to win the Grand Prix. All right, that's that closed up. Yeah, very close pace. But I thought the Sergio Perez radio message, apart from talking about paying homage to, saying hello to Thibaut and his wife, was interesting when he said, look, guys, we are still in the fight. And it felt like Sergio Perez was talking to his engineer and his mechanics only, and not the rest of the team. He was saying, we are still in the fight. We can't have issues like we did in Melbourne, of course, where Checo had a nightmare and didn't score. And we can't have issues like we had in Melbourne, and we still can get this championship. But the subtext of what he's saying is still in the championship. They can, of course, only 6 points now, the difference between Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. But then you've got on the pit wall, Christian Horner, with what sounded like reassuring radio message to Max Verstappen, saying, okay, never mind, Max. Checo got lucky with a safety car, but it's a long, long season. And that, to my ears, and to anyone reasonable, sounds like Christian Horner saying to Max, look, don't worry about it. You're still our man for the championship. Checo, of course, is thinking, well, hang on, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to be the man for the championship. And it could happen. It absolutely could happen. So that's something to look forward to. What's going on here? Oh, I see, right, we can't have the sponsor that's not the sponsor in the sponsor's pictures. All right, we'll leave them to it, Lee. We'll leave them to it. Less details about sponsor banner removal, the better. Apparently they are allowed to go onto the pit wall. So there was not an investigation needed or will happen. As long as the mechanics, they're not allowed to climb the fence, but as long as they have a foot, so say Christian Horner, on that bit of concrete, then the mechanics can be on the pit wall. And I double check that with the FIA and with other teams. That's what they believe the rules to be. It's a long season, said Max Verstappen. Sorry, the team said it's a long season. Max said we couldn't know that the safety car would come out then. But that's true. I mean, they didn't know that de Vries was going to happen, but we learnt a lot. Yes, we certainly did. Right, Ferrari, let's do them. And hooray, they finally get their podium. After their non-podium podium yesterday, Ferrari properly get a first podium of the season, because Charles Leclerc was third today in what he said was a lonely race. A good start for Charles Leclerc and on the restart. Retained the lead, but only till lap 4 when Max Verstappen became P1. Benefited under the safety car, but couldn't hold that P1 for long. Was easily passed by Checo Perez. Checo Perez got the lead. Hiya, welcome back to the Race Notebook for the 2023 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. It's just about easing up over Government House here in Baku, so hopefully it'll not be too wet for the pack up here, which combines air freight and sea freight. And this is some of the sea freight. And if you want to know how the rotation goes, it's quite interesting. So this sea freight number 4, they'll have about 4 or 5 sets of sea freight, and that will go, it'll start in Switzerland. So it would have gone that at the beginning of the season. It would have been sea freighted to here, Azerbaijan. It will then get on a boat and actually go to Doha, Qatar. That's the next race all of this stuff will be used at, which is in what, October? And then it'll go to Abu Dhabi, from Qatar to Abu Dhabi. So that's probably by road, and then back to Switzerland. Isn't that interesting? So it's that sea freight set 4. So set 1 would probably have done Bahrain, and then we'll go to Canada, and set 2 would have done Saudi, and then gone to somewhere else, and set 3 would have done Australia, and then gone to somewhere else. See what I mean? They go around. Interesting. Right, a bit more interesting than Alfa Romeo Sauber's day today, because Valtteri Bottas, I mean, it's horrible. They just had no grip in the car. Tyres were all over the place. And Valtteri Bottas was 18th. Zhou Guanyu was a DNF. Valtteri Bottas lost out in turn 1. He was hit by 2 people, Pierre Gasly and by Kevin Magnussen, and damaged the back of his car. And squeezed out down to P18, poor Valtteri. Zhou Guanyu was P16 at the time. Valtteri Bottas pitted on lap 7 with no grip. Zhou Guanyu also